So
Okay, you
I
see
see
both of
that.
them. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's okay. Let's thank you so much. So let's begin. Um, I do you know Manju? Was she from? I think she's joining now. Just she lost the connection. I don't know what happened. She was on the call.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, we can start. So
This
I
is
want you
my
to go ahead. Please go ahead.
this is my first session, so I
All
actually have no
right.
idea.
All right. Okay. Wow. Welcome. And it's very
Always
nice to
listening
have you.
over.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
nice to have you. So you can actually, there are a lot of other, and I will also share a link which will help you to join the group where, all the details of all the sessions and the recorded sessions and also the presentation links have been shared. So
Yes, sir.
I'm going to
Okay.
send it to you on personal chat. So you can you're welcome to join that group, and I'll share the links for the previous recordings, say previous sessions which we have done. I think there are 8 sessions which we have completed
I
till now.
I am I am part of that chat that you sent me.
Oh, is it then? Okay,
I
then I'll be
am.
reposting the links of the videos because I had posted it last week also. So I'll do
No,
that.
no. I
Mm,
think it's there. I have received it. I have received it.
mm,
It's just that I've not had the time to go and see the previous presentations. I've
mhm,
I made the time to come and see to to be part of this today. So it worked out.
mhm, mhm. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, okay, great. So, Naren, how it really works is that we have spoken. Just if I can give you a very quick flashback, it is really going to be quick. Is what we are looking at is that why do we talk about ascended masters? What is the real need that has come up to talk about the ascended masters and their teachings now? And it has been there from eons, but now as we speak in this era, which is the new Aquarian age, and there have been so many groups and so many talks happening around about ascension, right? We've been talking about
Correct.
balancing of karmas, and there's energy release, all that is happening now. I have been into this journey for last 2 years, and it's not, I would say that the time period is irrelevant towards the progress and the awakening, and people can awaken, and people can stay in sleep, but it doesn't matter. The time duration doesn't matter. It has no time, has no relevance to the time that you actually get introduced to this journey of spirituality, of being awakened. I've been into this into since last 2 years. What I have seen is that, and I'm fortunate that with all the knowledge that we have, ascended masters, they have the learnings that they bring forth is the highest form of learning which is present on the planet Earth, and I will be able to explain it to a certain degree. Why do I say that? And and the rest of it is for all of us to explore together as we are on this journey, as we are part of that group, and as we are part of this meeting. So the need for us to now talk about these teachings is even so more because we have so much information, overwhelming information about ascension, about balancing of karmas, about energy release, and bringing in harmony in our lives, making sense of things, whatever is happening, and really, yeah, really being the best of version of ourselves. So with all that, ascended masters, they tell us. So ascended masters are no other than people like you, me, other people who have lived life, various lifetimes on the planet. However, they have spent time, life after life, to balance their karmas, number one. And also, see, now you are part of this discussion. You all are part of this discussion. What this means is that we have balanced a certain amount of karma, at least 25%, and that is only when we can start to make sense of what I will talk. or what I have received and I have been able to make sense of. Otherwise, whatever we speak will not make sense because of the obvious reasons, because we are more busy in dwelling around other materialistic things, which is very important because we all need to earn, we all need to eat, we all need to have relationships, everything. But context is what we are discussing. For what? The reason why. Okay. Now, this all we have as we speak, ascended masters, they have what they are bringing forth on the table is that all that we are aware of is in bits and pieces, but the information that we have been provided is not absolute. Okay. Now I was talking about ascended masters. So they ascended masters are like a human. They have been in this life form on the physical planet like you and me. Over a period of lifetimes, they have completed their cycle of karma, balanced the karmas, and then chosen to ascend to the etheric plane, where they are working along with other ascended masters who are doing different roles. And this is real. And what I'm talking is absolutely real. And I cannot say this because I cannot prove it from that perspective, but from my understanding with the with the people that I've been also interacting with, and I would say a group of a lot of highly intellectual the people who are highly evolved, like Andrew Cohen, one of my masters, and Jaspal Soni and Azelia Fialo, and I'm really grateful to each one of them. Through various masters or mentors, so to say, I have understood one thing, realized one thing, that what we are learning is real, and it has impacted life. And I am somebody who's an engineer. I have my double MBA, and I'm speaking about this with no kind of experience of pride at all, just to bring it forth that I am very logical in my understanding, in my in my connection with my interaction with things that I take up, in my engagement with everything. So I have to feel things, I have to experience things, I have to see them in reality. Now, being that guy with that mindset, I'm very clear that I have to experience whatever we are talking about. So with reverence and with a lot of conviction, I really have experienced things which we are going to be talking about. Ascended masters have, they are these people who have ascended. They are in the etheric plane, and they are helping along with other ascended masters. And some of them have chosen not to ascend. They are unascended masters, so that they are more close to the planet, but they are not in physical form, but they are more easily accessible to human beings, and they can easily convert into a physical form. They can take a shape of any body, any face, very, very quickly. So they what they are telling us, the information that they're telling us, number one is pure. The word pure is means singular. It means when we look at the scriptures of Upanishads of Vedanta, in that we talk about Advaitya, in that we talk about singularity, in that we talk about oneness, in that we talk about absolute. In absolute, there is no duality. There is no negative to it. It's complete absolute. It's complete pure. So when we come to a state where we start receiving information from pure, from somebody who doesn't have any karmas interfere in our understanding, and also in our explanation. So I will not be able to explain whatever I will speak in absolute form, but I will attempt. So basically my information is correct, it is accurate, but it is not complete. And the amount of completion that I can possess is the amount of experience or the attainment I personally have. And then it is left up to everybody who is getting through these learnings to explore, to implement it, and to make their sense of these things themselves, so that when they speak they will have a sense of absoluteness in them. And that is the amount of purity that they will bring forth. So it will work like that. This might be a little spark, or you could say a kickstart towards that direction of learning what ascended masters are teaching. Okay. So that is why, so I just want to make a bottom line. Ascended masters provide us the teachings which are pure and absolute, and they are the highest form of learning, because all the masters, which we pray, we can talk about Hindu, you know gods, Shiva, Durga, Kalima, and so many gods, Ganesh ji, Krishna, and then we can talk about Jesus. We can talk about Muhammad. We can talk about Guru Nanak. We can talk about Zoroastrian gods and all other gods. I mean, these gods, they had been at time on the planet Earth, and I'm talking about more than lakhs of years ago also, and they have evolved and they have ascended, and they are providing this information through messengers to us. So all the information that we are talking is, none of that information is in the boundary of religion. It's all in the boundary of spirituality, because spirituality is like an open space. It has no boundaries. All the the religions, they converge into this one form of spirituality, so they all converge. However, none of the religions are in itself, uh, sorry to say this, but they have confined boundaries around it. I would limit it to that. So no confrontation, with all respect and due respect and love for all religions. Okay, but there is a certain boundary around it. But while we talk about spirituality, it is an open space, it is an open tent. Whatever you say, it has no boundaries. So what we are going to be talking from the Ascended Masters learnings is going to be coming in this space of spirituality, and what Ascended Masters have taught us. So each of them, they have taken different birth, okay, on the planet. They have taken different embodiments. So like Al Moria, he had taken a birth of a Hindu as well as of a Muslim. So he was Akbar in one of his embodiments, who brought forth the Hindu and Muslim together against the wishes of all the previous, kings and emperors. And then he had another lifetime in which he was a Christian, or like so and so forth. So each one of them, they have lived on the planet, where they have embodied, as a personality which we know as different religions, which we know as different gods. Today I'm going to be talking about Serapis Bey, who was a god in Egypt, and all the Egyptians, and that continent, that area. However, it is not that he is god for them. He also has lived his lifetime close to India, and so on and so forth. So the bottom line is, the Ascended Masters, they have spent time in different spaces, in different religions, in different communities and cultures, and they talk. When they talk, they only talk about how we can move forward in the direction of connection with our I am presence, which I'm going to be explaining to all of you in a moment. So once we start to receive these messages, the journey begins, and it's mostly, it becomes the whole, the limelight, or the focus is back to us, how much we can receive, and we can start to kind of get this information in a more committed fashion. Because the information will come to us when we start that, yes, today, Noreen, Manju, Shilpa, we decide that, yes, I am going to make a commitment. We will see that we will start getting different challenges. We will start getting different tests, so to say. Okay, lessons to be learned. And it's up to us, that are we ready to take up those challenges, or we want to continue to browse through them. And if both ways, it's up to us. But whatever decision we take, that will impact our progress and our journey to ascension. So that's what I just wanted to share with you. And don't worry about the information coming from different, it's not a sequential thing. But just be patient around here, and I'm sure that if you come here, my only request is that if you come here with an open heart, with an open mind, everything that I will speak will start resonating, and you will reflect upon after some time, and then you will see certain aspects that we have spoken. How does it make sense? Because this has to make sense when we live our life. Not one word makes sense if it is a theory. uh, I don't believe in reading a book about something which is important, and just kind of, I can't learn how to bicycle by reading a book, or I can't learn to be in love by reading very nice book, so and so forth. So this cannot be. It's not okay for me that people attend, or people listen to these kind of things just to gain knowledge. I don't think and not one of us, including our kids, have lack of knowledge. I think we are overwhelmed with knowledge. I don't want to add this to the pile of our knowledge. My intention is that we make use of this. The reason I am talking is because I am still learning, and I want that what I am going through, all of us can be part of it. My experience is that if I keep this knowledge to myself, whatever I will learn, it will only be very minuscule, number one. And I experience a sense of being alone, and I want that others should not feel that. We need to have some sort of mechanism of reaching out to people. And I'm very sure if you are here, you would have experienced that sense of being alone for sure. So we need to reach out to people. And my intention here is so that we can have some sort of connection, that and connection and reassurance. Now when I start speaking, you will see those reassurances coming, not from me. I am not the doer, by the way. I'm just a messenger. The God is a doer. Okay, so that's the only intention I have on this call. So this, okay. Well, just hang on. How much ever it made sense, it's wherever you are, it's good. Okay, so you're as good and as perfect as anybody else, is what I want to say. It doesn't matter whether it's your first session or your eighth session, or I have attended maybe 20 sessions, or somebody else who I learn from has been here in this journey for 25 years. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that we are here with an open heart and open mind. And with that, let's begin. And I want to say that you can feel free to ask questions at any point of time. All the information that I have gone through so far is already recorded and it's available on YouTube. And those links will be shared to you. Uh, I will just post one, what do you call that? A message where uh, it gives you a link to the chat group where you can WhatsApp group where you can join. And I will keep on posting the earlier recordings in this group, so that you can, it's a repository, so that you have access to that repository, and you can also talk to each other and take support. That's just there for a support mechanism. Okay, so let's uh, let's start with the 10 minutes of meditation. Would you all like to do the meditation? I just want to ask if you guys are interested, then let's do a 10 minutes meditation and then start. Or how is what's your thought? You have to say yes or no. I can't hear you.
I'm okay with anything that anybody decides.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Can I just get
you're
one
like
minute
this.
break? Yeah,
Okay, come
I'm
back
okay.
quickly. Yeah, I count you in then. What about you, Manjuji? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I said
Ah,
I'm okay with both.
okay, then too positive.
Whatever you choose to do, I'm okay.
Okay, I'll consider two positives. So let's do it then.
You
Shilpa.
last Saturday, I
Hmm.
missed it. Is that recording available?
Of course, Manjuji, I think there's a chat. If you open the chat on the window, you will see a chat window. There is a link. And if you click on
Okay.
that link, it will take you to the a group which you can join. That's a WhatsApp group. Tell me
Okay.
one thing. Are you part of Pyramid Buddies group, or
Uh,
are you part of
no,
Beam Meditation group?
no,
Okay.
I'm not.
Are you part of Oneness group, Oneness in community group? Okay.
No, no.
How did you come to know about this?
I think a friend of mine, I have attended your two, three other lectures.
Okay.
Uh, so this one, abundance, this one, abundance flows.
Okay.
I
Okay.
had joined that one.
Okay. Okay. So
So,
you're part of
mm,
Abundance Flow. Okay. I think
yeah,
I was taking that long back. So you
yeah.
joined from there. Okay. So what I'll do
Mhm.
is I'll send that this link to that group. You can join from there.
Okay. Thanks.
Abundance Flow Group. Yeah, I've sent this link over there. You can join that.
Because this link was there in Abundance Flows only. Where this lecture.
Not this link, the chat link for the group,
No,
where
no.
I'll be sharing the links of previous videos.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Shilpa, are you also going to join the meditation? I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm still in the cooking phase. I'll plan it better next time. Sorry.
But hang on, okay? Just 10
Sure.
minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'll be there. Yeah.
yeah. Let the meditation complete. Maybe you can get done by the cooking then. So
Sure.
just hang on.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll just start the meditation and we'll finish it. Yeah. All right. So please be in a place where you can be more still at the same time stable. Preferably it's if it's a seat, like a bed, or somewhere on the ground, so that you can be still and you can also be stable. Okay, and we need to close our eyes. Thank you, Tanya. Oh, oh, oh. So what we will do, I'll just take a minute and explain. So this is a meditation on Advaita, or oneness, or nothingness, or zero, or infinity. Uh, before the evolution of the whole cosmos, before when the Big Bang happened, and it caused the whole cosmos to be created, and multiple galaxies, multiple universes, and inside them, and then multiple galaxies, and multiple galaxies, and the whole of cosmos. And before the whole journey, or before this Big Bang happened, which happened probably billions and billions of years ago. Okay, imagine at that stage, if I could just show you some sort of a whiteboard. I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure if there is an option to show you a whiteboard. Okay, uh, files, Google. Anyways, let me just use my imagination just to save time. Imagine that this is a circle, okay, and this circle is the state of uh, you know big moment of Big Bang, the time when the Big Bang happened. Okay, before this Big Bang there was nothing in the circle. So just at the time of Big Bang the creation happened. At that point of time, the whole aspect of form, creation of form, creation of time, creation of space, it started to happen. And from that, the whole different universes and planets and all the matter was created. And then from that, different evolutions created in the form of human being, in the form of animals and plants and everything, other elements, rocks, sand, everything else that we see. So the whole matter was created once the whole creation started after the Big Bang. Now, I'm talking about the state of Big Bang. At that particular state, there was nothing. There was no form, there was no matter, there was no life, there was no being, there was no knowing. We couldn't know anything. When there is nothing, then we cannot know anything. When there is nothing, we cannot have anything. We cannot possess anything. When there is nothing, then there is no experience itself of being. So, so to say, what we do is while we go into this journey of nothingness, of putting ourselves into the state of infinity or zero, what we do is we gradually go to a state where we are dropping all the senses, all the relationship that we have with all the content around us, which I mean to say that gradually you start to experience that you're going you're losing your own self, then you're losing the whole city, the matter. There's you don't have, have nothing at all. You're losing the whole aspect, or it's dissolving. You are dissolving. The whole city is dissolving. The country, the world, the whole planet, the universe, the cosmos, eventually the galaxy and the cosmos, that whole thing is dissolving, and then it is reaching to a state where it never existed, which means there is no experience. When you reach to that stage, there is no experience. This, it's a state of nothingness. Okay, no, having nothing, knowing nothing, being no one, no relationship with the content of the consciousness. And while we do it, our mind keeps engaging ourselves. Especially when I do this meditation, my mind always constantly gives me the best ideas that I can ever have to solve the most complex problems. And that is the only time we have to remember. This is the only time. It's this is the only time we have to remember that any information is to be treated as garbage, is to be treated as a waste. And how much ever valuable information it might be, how much ever negative also it might be, whatever it is, even if God comes and tells us that I want you to listen to me, you will say that nothing means at any, it is garbage. You have to start to discard it. So our attention has to keep moving back to the state of nothing, knowing nothing, having nothing, being no one. Okay, so that's with that. Let's. Any questions? Okay, good. Then let's start. I would request you to close your eyes. One sec. Sit in a comfortable position. Be aware of yourself and stay still. Take 3 deep breaths. Keep your eyes closed. I'll repeat. Be aware of yourself, of your body. Stay still. Take few deep breaths. Manjuji, you need to keep your eyes closed. This exercise needs that 10 minutes. So we'll start again. Okay. Please keep your eyes closed for the entire duration. Thank you. So be aware of your body. Keep still. Be still. Take few deep breaths once again. Be present. Pay attention. And now gradually start to have no relationship right now with any content, all the content of the consciousness. Let the mind Stop completely. Let the mind drop completely. So you are being present, once again, being present. You are paying attention, and now having no relationship to the content of consciousness. Have nothing. Imagine that you are disappearing. Your mind, your body is disappearing into oblivion, into nothingness. And your house is disappearing. Your belongings are disappearing. Your family, your city, your country, the planet, the universe, the galaxy, and the whole of cosmos is disappearing into the infinity, to the nothingness. Any thought that comes, let the thought pass. Just like the source of water is flowing, let yourself be in a state of surrender infinitely. Let all the thoughts pass, let them pass continuously. And you keep doing this all through the rest of the period. I'm going to be quiet now. And yet you will be being present all the time, paying attention to the consciousness, having nothing, knowing nothing, being no one, no relationship with the content of consciousness. Just as the boat moves from the shore to the center of the ocean, the water is still. You experience the stillness all around, all inside and out.
Excuse me, there is a sound coming from somewhere. I think somebody has not muted themselves. Probably Shilpa is not muted. I don't know.
I
Can
will
you check
mute
it up?
myself. Yeah. Manjuji, the meditation gets disturbed. Please be in the state of nothingness. We have limited time. Having nothing, knowing nothing, being no one, having no relationship to the content of consciousness. All the meanings drop. Complete surrender of your mind, of your knowledge, complete surrender of everything that you experience. Only being present, that's all. Being present to the entire consciousness with no relationship to the content of the consciousness. Go to the state of Big Bang when there was nothing, no being, no knowing, no having, nothing. I will be quiet until the meditation ends. Gradually come back to your body. Experience yourself, your hands, your legs, your face, the surroundings around you. And you can feel comfortable, you can open your eyes. How was your experience?
Sorry, I disturbed in between, but there were a lot of sound coming from where I don't know.
Okay, it's
And
okay.
that was disturbing all the time. So that's
Okay, no problem.
Were you also getting the sound?
No, I did not, but maybe
She's
she
getting.
did. She said, yeah,
She
she
was.
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Akash, it was coming from your place.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
because when you muted, it was fine.
Until I muted, it wasn't okay. Okay.
That's okay.
How was your experience?
Good.
Yeah, it was very relaxing. I don't know whether I understood or I got to the point of nothingness, but it was very relaxing. I it's been in a long time. In 10 minutes, I felt like I was, yeah, able to let go and almost fall into a deep sleep. It was good.
So I do not have even 10% mastery over the working of this meditation, but from what I understand, in the living form we are in different state, and then there is a subconscious state, semi-sleep form, and then there is a sleep form. And when we are in the active form, we are in the form of beta. Beta is a low form. We so we are in three different states: alpha, beta, and theta. So if within the beta form, we are completely active, and that is super active form, which is a very high frequency. We feel rage and anger and anxiety. And then there is a state of average beta form in which our heartbeats is even slower, in which we can interact and we can do our daily tasks, and we listen, talk, watch, do other activities. And there is a lower beta form in which we becoming like when we listen to music, it's a very relaxed state. And then when the form drops, it drops down to theta state, in which our brain waves become even slower, and then we are semi sleep at that point of time, but we are aware of what is happening. And then we go to another lower form of upper alpha, in which we reach to a state of trance. And what I'm trying to tell you is, when we shift from different stages, this meditation helps us to be in the lowest state, where it is a state of sleep. And that is the lowest form, which is the lowest form, like the state of delta. Sorry, not alpha, sorry, delta. Alpha is the active form. I'm so sorry. Alpha is the active form, not beta, but alpha. And beta is a subconscious form, but delta is the form where we are in deep sleep. And theta is a form in between the sleep and the active semi-sleep state. So with this meditation, we reach to the state of delta. And what essentially it does is, it takes away our uh, grip on our belief, all the things that we hold on so tightly. And because we hold on to so many things so tightly from our past, all the belief system, it is more like a brick wall. I promise you that it is even stronger than a brick wall, because the kind of impressions that we carry, the memories that we carry, they are coming from the past, and many of them, most of them. And when we go through the teachings of Ascended Masters, you will learn about past record, memory, and yeah, one more thing. So, yeah, past records and memories, they emotions also, they these are so strong, even stronger than the brick wall. It is impossible for us to break them. But as we practice this meditation, gradually the grip of that belief loosens out. And why we need to do that is so that number one, it helps us to be in the most relaxed state. So I will tell you, promise you, I will promise you, none of us on the planet, including the the masters or who have accomplished a lot of attainments, are free from the Maya, are free from the karma. None of them, none of us are free from karma. So essentially, what is happening is that while we are generating non-stop karma every single moment, it is very imperative for us to be able to stay in a state where we can see where we can live a life inside of the most purest form of ourselves. So just like an ocean which is calm, very calm when you reach to the center of the ocean, but at the same time this calmness is completely opposite of the creation, which means complete kind of a chaos. But who we are, Buddha said that when we can see life and we do not distinguish between the absolute and the relative, and that is the only time that we start to become enlightened. But what he means by that is that when we can be still, when we can completely be in our I am presence, which means that we are in the state of absolute balancing of our meridians, which means that we are able to experience the nothingness of the world, the oneness of the world, then is the only time when we are able to make sense of what is happening in the world, and we are most effective. When I say most effective, is not to do the things which generally we are expected to do, but we are most effective as a human being. That is the best version of ourselves. Do I know exactly why I am born on this planet and what is my purpose on the planet and what is God's will? Don't know that. I have no answer to that. But can I reach there? Of course, I can reach there. I can understand why I am here. What is the reason? What is God's will of me being here? What is the collective consciousness? That's what the God is. What is the intention of the collective consciousness? Yes, I can know that. And can I be a best version of myself, which means with all the energies that I have and I'm emitting a certain frequency, can I be the best version of that? Can I connect with my I am presence and then bring forth certain qualities which at this birth I can experience or I can exhibit to the best of myself as per God's plan? Yes, the answer is yes, I can. So, for doing such things, we have to get away from the human aspect of ourselves, because the human aspect of us of ourselves is so in gripping that it wants to take control. What it wants is it wants us to always, our mind is a spoilt brat because it wants attention all the time. It wants to completely envelop and engulf our personality. But we are not our mind. We are not our body. We are not just mere physical beings. We are so much more. But we want to reach to the state where we can experience the nirvana. And that is why we need help of the pure learnings, number one, of the teachings of the knowledge, pure teachings, number one. Number two, we need assistance so that we can, in our physical vessel, we can be the best version. So we can do meditation, we can do chakra meditation, and we can do other things. And then we can also do decrees, or the special chants which I'm going to be talking about in the session. And these are the things: knowledge, our decrees, and also the yeah, meditation. So these things will help us to be in a state where we can be the best version of ourselves. Okay, so that is the intention behind it. Hi Shruti, welcome. welcome, welcome. Would you like to say a hello and switch on your camera, please?
Hello.
Hello. Can you please switch on your camera? Okay.
I'm in a listening to it. Can't speak to hear what you are saying. Makes sense.
Okay. 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 Thanks. I would request you to please keep your camera switched on so that this is an interactive session, and I would really appreciate if we can see each other, and then we can have a conversation. It's not one
Actually, I
directional.
chanced upon this meeting today while I was in the dentist's office. So, but I don't want to miss it. So I'm listening to you. I don't even have my earplugs. So
Oh,
please allow me to do it like this time.
okay. Okay. It's nothing
Next
of me
time
to.
I will
Yeah. Okay.
be on camera and also.
Okay. Okay. It's nothing of me to say that to allow you. It's
Thank
your
you.
wish. It's a request that I made so that it is more interactive. So, but it's up to you.
I
It's
would
okay.
love to do that. It's only this time a little problematic.
No
Thank
problem. Okay. Let me just share my screen. So, okay. So, am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, we will be during this session. We will be keeping one question, engaging in a question. We'll be dwelling upon a question that who are we? Okay, and who am I? Who am I? This is a question that we will be in the back of our mind. We'll be dwelling into this question while we're in this session. Who am I? Number one. Number two. What am I doing here? Okay, on the planet. What am I doing here? And this sounds to be a very basic, simplest, even monotonous question. However, still, I want you to dwell on this question. Okay, who am I, and what am I doing on this planet? Okay, just keep that in the back burner, so to say. Okay, and with that, what you see on the screen are group of few of the ascended masters. Okay, and there are many more. Uh, but just to give you a brief about some of the ascended masters, and maybe you know a couple of them also. So, what do we mean by ascended masters of the Great White Brotherhood? It means that it's a body of different masters who are ascended and who are unascended and their chelas, which means it includes you and me also. Okay, so each of these of them who they have been part of the planet and they have completed their circle of life and death. Now, now, I'll just briefly talk about each one of them. So, if you look at the screen on the extreme left top, I will put a pointer also so that it's visible. This this is the ascended master Kuthumi, and I'll give one-liners, and each one of them have an introduction which needs maybe 10 days to talk about them. But what I promise you is that I will take one session about each ascended master as much as I can, Okay, and today I will be talking at length about one of the ascended masters, which is Serapis Bey. So, but right now it's a brief introduction. So, just one word about them. So, this is Ascended Master Kuthumi. He was ascended in the last reincarnation when he was on in the Indian subcontinent, and he has an etheric retreat in somewhere in Himalaya, and he is known for specially for the psychology. Okay, he's known for his psychology. If you need any support on psychology, all the time we need it because it helps us to really balance our karma. It's very crucial to balance the karmas to master our psychology. So he is a master of psychology, Kuthumi. His retreat is in Himalaya, and this is ascendant master El Moria. And El Moria, he is the master of the will of God. And El Moria was one of the person who came to the planet Earth along with Sanat Kumara, who had 144,000 emissaries along with him when he came to planet Earth from Venus, because that was the second time when the Earth was decided to be destroyed, and he came to save this planet. So he was one of the frontliners with Sanat Kumara, master of will of God. We'll talk much more about El Moria. I have already spoken about him, but you can see the videos at length. I've spoken about him earlier in earlier sessions. This is Ascended Master Chananda. Master Chananda, he is the master of twin flame, and he is also the person who is responsible for the spiritual growth in Indian subcontinent. And then we have ascended Master Sanat Kumara, also known as Kartikeyan, and he has the highest order of responsibility of the planet Earth because he was the one who came from Venus, leaving his twin flame and coming to the planet to save the planet Earth. And he came along with 144 emissaries. And we'll talk much more. 144,000 emissaries. We'll be talking about him in detail in subsequent lessons. And now this is Serapis Bey. Today we will be touching upon his life. He is a master of discipline. He's a great disciplinarian. And then this is Maha Avatar Babaji. And Maha Avatar Babaji, he is one of the lineage of one of the gurus, one of the ascended masters who chose not to ascend. So he is having his presence very closely on the planet, and his retreat is also somewhere in near the Rishikesh area, okay, in India. And he some of the people have been seeing him also in a young body still, and he is a master of meditation and nirvana. And each one of them have taken different embodiments. It doesn't matter that they are presently in any specific country or region, but they have taken birth in different parts of the world with as part of different cultures and religions also. And then this is Confucius, and Confucius was a great leader in China region in the last years when he got his ascension, and he's a master of wisdom and energy. And then we see here is Saint Paul, and Saint Paul, he is the he had written letters to Jesus. He was part of one of his core members, or disciples at the time of Jesus Christ on the planet. And he was famously written epistle. Epistle was kind of special writing which he had written for Jesus, and he is a master of healing. There are so many masters who are masters of healing, so he's also one of those. He's a master of healing. And then we see here Portia, Lady Portia, and she is the one who you always see when you go to the, if maybe you never went, and you, I wish you never have to, but if you see in movies, a lady who is sitting in the courtroom, in the justice room, with her eyes blinded. So she is the one who is sitting in every court with her eyes blinded, and she is the master of truth. She is a master of justice. Okay, Lady Portia, she's a goddess of justice. And then you have Mother Mary. Mother Mary, mother of Jesus Christ. She is also known as the twin flame. I mean, Mother Mary is known to be a master of healing and master of twin flame. And then you see over here Buddha. Buddha, he is from the lineage of Sanat Kumara. While he came to the planet Earth from Venus, he is one of the frontliners. And we all know about Gautam Buddha, at least, that he is, he holds the entire responsibility of planet Earth's uh, uh, consciousness and the awareness into spirituality, or into the consciousness, I would say. So that's what about. He's also called as the Lord of the world. Okay, and then we have Pallas Athena. His name is Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena. He's a goddess of. She is a goddess of truth. And then what we see here is Mother Mary, and Mother Mary, she is the uh, goddess of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. And she is also one of the unascended masters who was seen in her last in reincarnations in the China region. Uh, yeah, and she is known by the name of Mother Kuan Yin, but she had many other embodiments. But that this was her last embodiment in the physical form. So she is a mother of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. And then you see here Saint Germain. Saint Germain, he is a saint, master of violet flame, and he is the one who brought violet flame, the gift of violet flame, to the planet Earth. And we will talk about him subsequently. And he is Paul the Venetian. Paul the Venetian, he is a master of love. Okay, and then below you see is Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, he is a master of protection. He's also known by the name, Indian name of Hanuman, God Hanuman. Okay, he is an angel of protection and faith, and he has the highest order of responsibility on the planet Earth for all the angels who are involved in the protection, for any kind of protection and faith. We reach out to Archangel Michael, or you can also say Hanuman. And then this is mighty Astrea. She can also be known by the name of Kalima, Durgama, both. And she is the mother of fearlessness. She has the power. So she is uh, she is the master of God power and fearlessness. Okay, and then what you see here is Kartikeyan. Okay, Maitreya. I'm so sorry, Maitreya. And Maitreya is the the master of yogic powers, including levitation and flight through the air. Okay, and then below you see is Cyclopia. No, this is not Cyclopia. Yeah, this is Hilarion. Hilarion, she is the the uh, goddess of truth. And then below you see is Milarepa. Milarepa, he has the, I'm sorry, I had missed one part about Maitreya. Maitreya, he is known for being the guru of Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry about that, I missed that. Okay, and of course I spoke about Hilarion. She is the the master of truth, temple of truth. And then we see here is Milarepa. Milarepa, he is the master of yogic powers, including levitation and flight through the air. And he has a very beautiful story where his guru asked him to build a temple 7 times, and he had put all his resources, monetarily wise and manpower wise, into building that particular huge ashram for the guru, just because the guru said so. Each time it took him more than couple of years, 2 3 4 years, but the guru asked him to break that temple, and 7 times he did that. So he spent 2 decades or more to build the final version of the temple without hesitation, and without a second thought. But then finally guru came and he said that now this is complete. And then upon asking, his guru said that I had to make you do this because in the earlier life you had destroyed and burnt houses of hundreds of people. So for you to balance that much amount of karma, you had to take that much amount of effort. So That's what. Now this is Cyclopia. That's the only image that we have of Cyclopia, and she is the god of truth, healing, constancy, and desire to precipitate the abundance of God through the immaculate concept of Holy Virgin. Okay, and now you see here is Surya. Surya, he is the power. He's the god. He's the master of power and hierarch of God star Sirius. Now, God star Sirius is the ultimate star. So our star is sun, and and there is another star after sun, which is of the whole galaxy, and then of the multiple galaxies, there is another sun, a single sun. Of multiple universes, there is one more sun. That is called as the central sun, great central sun, which is called as Sirius. Okay, and then you see here is Aphra. Aphra, he is the first member of Black race to make his ascension. And then you see Lord Lento, and Lord Lento, he is the master of attainment through enlightenment, definition, and dominion in the crown chakra. And his story is famous that people used to make fun of his attainment because whenever he used to talk about his attainment, because he loved to share with people, he wanted to illuminate people, they used to make fun of him as if he doesn't know anything. See, he asked God to allow him that his threefold flame, I will be talking about what it means, that his threefold flame can be seen by people because he has attained so much powers. After attaining so much powers, his threefold flame is illuminating anybody whose third eye is open and who is enlightened will be able to see the threefold flame, but not the others. So God gave him special permission to, you know, to illuminate his threefold flame. So whenever he used, he then his body used to radiate with a yellow color globe, surrounding him all the time. And that globe was basically the color of illumination. So there are three looms to threefold flame, and the yellow and the pink and the blue. And the yellow one is basically for wisdom. And this is what his one of his mastery was in wisdom, was in illumination. Okay, so that started to glow. Okay, now there are so many more which I can share. I will be sharing, but this is just to give you a brief glimpse. Now,
Who?
very
Could you repeat his name, please?
the last one,
Yes, please.
Cyclopia. You want to know about Cyclopia?
No, no, no. That also I want to know, but what was the name of the last ascended master who is got the threefold flame?
His name is Lord Lento. He was
Thank you.
yeah, he was last embodied as emperor in China. Okay, and I have spoken about Lord Lento in length, a whole lecture about Lord Lento. So I will you can just watch one of the videos and you will come to know. The third ray was about Lord Lento, the crown chakra. Yeah, Lord Lento. We will just tell you which ray was that. Okay, so second ray was about Lord Lento. So if you go in the video, just search for the second ray, color blue, and you will find the whole lecture on Lord Lento. Very beautiful if you hear to him. Amazing. And then I was just talking about the recent progress or the introduction of I am presence movement, to the humanity. It started in 1875 as a theosophical society. I'll be also touching more about it later in the lecture. So and it started in New York. Later on, it came to India in 1879. Okay, and there is another movement by the name of I Am movement, which started. Theosophical Society also has this presence in Chennai. Chennai is their headquarters in India, but global headquarters is in the US. And the second one, it started in 19th century, in 1930, in a place in Chicago, and its name was I Am movement. It is still present. And all the information that I'm sharing with you has come from the Summit Lighthouse, which is still there. It is there in Corning Springs, Montana, USA. And also, all the information that I'm sharing is coming from chananda.org. I've shared the URLs, which you will receive as a form of PPT. And you can always, go and learn more about it through this website. And I've learned these teachings through Jaspal Soni, and I credit him for uh, imbibing this knowledge to all of us, all the students. And what we see here now is the fourth ray. Today we're going to be spending at least 1 hour in this fourth ray. We'll be finishing around it's 2 o'clock. Before 3 we will be finishing. So what is so fourth ray is the ray that we're talking about, and fourth ray signifies mastery over purity and perfection. Okay, it helps us to master our or align our four lower bodies. Its color is white, and its chakra is the root chakra, the base of the spine. It's called also called as Mooladhara chakra. And the day which signifies fourth ray is a Friday, on Friday. Okay, and once we work through all the chakras, we reach to a stage where we need to really understand each chakra first, or each ray first. And once we do that, we reach to a stage where we are able to do a self assessment to basically identify which is the ray that we have most dominance upon, which is the most dominant ray on in this life upon us. And that exercise takes about an hour or more, or 1.5 hour. And then we find out which is our first dominant ray and which is our second dominant ray. And that will help us to basically align our qualities to the God qualities and find the purpose that we have. Okay. Okay. So I think, yeah, that's all I wanted to say about it. What you see here is a chart of I am presence. And for those of you who are attending it for the first time, what this means is that it's basically this chart is I would request you to replace this Om with any symbol of your own religion, with the uh, cross of Jesus, with sign of Muhammad, with sign of Guru Nanak Ji or Krishna, or any other religion, Zoroastrian or paganism or anything. You can just, this sign is nothing but our I am presence. Okay. So we are existing in different layers. We didn't know that. But before we speak a word more, I would like to also offer you a perspective of the other truth that perhaps was hidden from us from various for various reasons and from many years. And that aspect is to understand that we are born from our parents. Like physically, we are born from our mother and father. So that is the closest relationship that I have known ever since. Okay. But did we know that our closest relationship beyond mother father is, and that is true for our mother father also and for everybody on the planet, and that relationship is our relationship with our I am presence, which means that we are first sons and daughters of God. I mean, take a moment and breathe into it. All of us, each one of us, are sons and daughters of God. Can you be on mute, please? Okay, yeah. So each one of us are sons and daughters of God. Please be on mute. Yeah. So each one of us are sons and daughters of God. Now, this is something that all of us was new to me. It's perhaps new to you also. And can we just experience this, that we are sons and daughters of God? I mean, how beautiful is that? I don't think that we are living life like this, being sons and daughters of God. But at least right now, if you can just take a moment, If you're not good in imagining, just imagine that you're imagining that you are son or you are a daughter of God, or what it means. It's just that all the qualities that God possesses are present in us, just like your son or daughter. Or if you are not married, you being a son and daughter of your parents, just like that, we are sons and daughters of God. When when we as children, or when our children, they ask us something, do they have to think twice? It's like they have a birthright. This is mine, give it to me. They don't request, they say just give it to me. It's mine, I need it. There is no discussion about please or requesting. I mean, we might do it to make it more dramatic, but in a sense we just take it, it's mine, like that. Now that's the relationship we, all of us, have with God, because we are part of God. We are sons and daughters of God. I want you to, I'm repeating this in every lecture because I want all of us to be present to this fact, to live our life as being sons and daughters of God. Okay. With that said, let me give you a perspective of our physical right current state of our physicalness. Where are we right now in this current phase of evolution of the humanity? We have reached to a stage where our 12 strand DNA has been broken down, has become dormant, and only two of out of those 12 are active, which means the connection of our pineal gland is very, very, very weak with the, the connection with the supreme, which is our own I am presence. And we have also, because of so much accumulation of negative karma, we have also lost touch with the purity of the knowledge that we already had. And it has been over completely, layers and layers of memory and records. And the information has been covered by the negative karmas, layers and layers of that the soul knowledge that we possessed has been not been brought up front to us, to our presence. It's very, very hidden to us right now. So we have, I would say, we have 7 layers on ourselves. Okay. And this is for you, for us to know. The 7 layers are divided into 2 parts. One of the parts is called as the lower, and the second is called as the upper. And the lower part is most close to our physicalness. So in the lower part, there are, 4 different elements. Out of 7, 4 come in lower and 3 come in upper. Okay. Those 4 elements are etheric, that's the etheric body, and then the mental body, then the emotional body, and then the physical body. Okay. So it is etheric body, mental body, emotional body, and physical body. So the etheric body is our external, the space around us, maybe 3 inches to 5 inches around us, the aura that we have, that's our etheric body. That's the energy surrounding us. We can, some people can read our aura, our energy also. Okay. And that energy is the electromagnetic field which exhibits the signals, helping us, or maybe to identify which frequency we are operating in, which attracts this kind of life around us all the time. Okay. And it's not that simple. So I would request all of you to not waste the time in looking at our aura, the color of our aura. Okay. And I'll tell you why it's so important not to look at that. But we need to be knowing it, that that is a part of our body. That is one. The second is our psychology. Why is it so important to talk about psychology? Because all that we are doing is governed through our belief system. And the belief system isn't because only of the place of birth. Of course, it is influenced by the place of birth, by the knowledge that we have gained or the education that we have gained, and also by the surroundings, that the friend circle or the office, community, various type of societies that we have been walking through, or living through our life. That does matter. It really impacts our psychology, but that is not the only thing which impacts our psychology. Our psychology gets impacted through lifetime of karma accumulated, and which has given an imprint to, to our blueprint. That thing has been imprinted on our record and memory, from the lifetimes to lifetimes, and that also gets carried forward to different lifetimes. And that is why our psychology is so much important to be healed. And the mental body is basically nothing but that. That's what it means. So that's why we really need help of ascended masters teachings, and through the ascended master teachings, learn ways to basically, rectify our psychology. It is an important element to balance our karmas. Our karmas cannot get balanced without working on our psychology. A very important thing to know, and it is one element for balancing the karma. There are some more required, but one important element is this. And the other element is to do service. We, all of us, need to do service. And the third element is to do prayers. The prayers are in the form of decrees. I'll come to that more in detail later on. And then the third is the emotion. So emotions are, also the very, very critical aspect in the way we are appearing to anybody, or the way we are identified as a human being. So emotions are closely tied with our mental body and our psychology. And at the same time, the every time an emotion comes, once there is a pattern of thought. So basically, it comes from the mental to the emotional. So our emotions drive our actions. All our karmas are basically impacted because of the way we feel. Our feelings are very important. So that's one of our bodies. We need to understand them separately, because unless we handle our emotions, we cannot really reach to a mastery of aligning our meridians. Unless our meridians are aligned, our kundalini is aligned, our chakras are aligned, we cannot receive the information. And I mean, to receive the information is not to understand it, because I'll be reading some of them now, but actually receiving it so that you can imbibe it. Okay. And the last is the physical, that's the touch. So these are the four lower bodies. And the three upper bodies are our Atma, our Brahma, that is our I am presence, and our causal body. So our Atma is this, which is also called as our higher mind. And this is a state which is also called as Vishnu, because Vishnu was the preserver. Now, if you look at the top figure, is the Brahma, this is the Vishnu, and this is the Shiva. We are naming them as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, but essentially these are all us. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are present in us. We are Brahma, we are Vishnu, we are Shiva. And I mean that in a literal sense. So Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer, destroyer of negative energy, of evil. So this state of I am presence, sorry, this state of our body is called as Atma. Okay. And in Atma, we are basically, it is also called as our higher mind. At any point of time when we are able to connect with our solar plexus and our sacral chakra, and that gets cleared, okay, and it's spinning very accurately, then at that point of time our connection with our Atma is very strong. Essentially what it means is that we start to talk to our inner child, and we start to get intuitions, and those intuitions are very strong, and those intuitions are coming from our Atma. We know it without anybody speaking. So we know certain truths which are beyond anybody's sight. We know certain realities which are not seen or known to other people. It is beyond any explanation, but it is the truth that is happening because we are connecting with our Atma. Why we need Atma is also an important point which I will answer, is because ultimately this is who we are. That's the third from the upper three bodies. First one is Atma, second one is I am presence, that is our Brahma, and the third one is our causal body. So the second one which I'm talking about is the I will come to this why part later on. Second one which I'm talking about is also the I am presence. It is our God self. It is also called as our God self. Now all this is in us. Okay, our God self is the highest state of being. which means that this is our connection. When we are in this state, we are in the state of nirvana. We are in the state of completely receiving the messages from the God. Okay, and this is the Brahma, that is basically the creator. Have to be with the dentist, have to go. No problem, Shruti. Thank you for joining for whatever while you were there. You can always listen to this lecture later on. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I was talking about the I am presence. Now, yeah. So this is our God self. This is our I am presence, and our connection with I am presence at one point of time, probably around 50,000 years ago, was absolute. That was a time when the free will was introduced. Unless before the time of free will, we were only in the state of God self. We were never in the state of lower bodies. So our threefold flame was bigger than our size of our bodies. All of us were more than 9 to 10 feet in normally the size of our physical appearance, and that was the exact size of our threefold flame. And I'll explain you about threefold flame eventually. Just for now, remember the threefold flame is a gift which is given by God to us, and that is the attainment or the jewel that all of us have. But the size of that is very small. It is 1/16th of an inch, and the goal is to increase the size of the threefold flame. As the size of the threefold flame increases, our attainment increases. All these things are multidimensional. So this knowledge is not a linear knowledge. It cannot be learned linearly, but it can only be learned multidimensionally, because it can only be understood multidimensionally. Because for us to understand this, we have to start to implement parts and pieces of it, and gradually we start to understand, and we start to demystify. This is a mystical learning. Okay, sorry about little deviation, but our threefold flame was as big as our whole body. Now, I am presence is the ultimate goal for us to be in. Okay, now I was talking about the reason why we are requiring Atma is because we have reached to such a lower state, my friends, that it's impossible for us to connect with our I am presence. So that is why we have been given this opportunity to have another body, which is our Atma, which helps us to basically, it is a step down transformer, I can say, which helps us to further integrate with our I am presence. Otherwise, it becomes a very big step. It's like we are standing in front of a ladder whose first step is bigger than the size of our own body. And it's impossible to take such a big step. So, this is stepping down so that we get one good hold of this stage or get to this level and then take the next leap forward. So much so, for us to really get so much help, it's only for us to be aware of it and start to take benefit of it. I mean, who wouldn't want to do it? Now, this is the I am presence, and this is a stage where we experience the ultimate godness. And what we see, the circles around it with the yellow and the pink and a purple and violet and green and blue colors are different colors of the causal body. And the causal body was explained in the second or the first lecture, where I was explaining you about how the human beings are evolved. How did we get birth? It's not about being in the womb and just getting birth. It is much beyond that. Before we actually get birth, we have a soul, and soul is the first step of the birth that happens before the embryo starts to build in the mother's womb. Okay, and all that has been taken care by the guiding angels all throughout. It's just not a very mechanical process. It's all angelic process, by the way. But that's beyond the understanding of human understanding, and it's beyond science. But that's true. Okay, at that stage, when the ultimately the seed of the soul, before the soul gets created, there is a seed of the soul. The seed of the soul is where it is called as the spirit spark, and in the spirit spark, this God qualities are imbibed. When the spirit spark travels to great central sun, which is the home of mother and father God, Alpha and Omega. Now, all this is there in the lecture number 2 probably, and you can go and learn about it. But in one shot, in one line, these different spheres are concentric spheres. Each sphere is present in us, and each sphere color represents a quality of God. Now, the quality of the God is so essential for us to be on the planet Earth. Unless we have a God quality, we cannot be God's children. What do you mean by God quality? That's the God's DNA in us. Okay, that's the God's blueprint in us. Once we have the God quality, only then can we practice it and can we reach back to God, okay, by practicing the God qualities. And it is there with all of us, which means that since we are mother and father of God, since we are the children, sorry, we are the children of God, we are the sons and daughters of God, and by that virtue, we have their DNA, we have their blueprint, their qualities in us. So we need to, find a mechanism that we can start to exhibit those God qualities and start to really live life through them. Okay, and for that we really need to take certain steps, because all that is buried under the karmic debris. Okay, so that this is the causal body. So three I explained you. One is Atma, one is the I am presence, and the third is the causal body. These three: Atma, I am presence, and causal body. So these are the three upper bodies, and this is the four lower bodies. Okay, any question? I'll move forward. It might be so confusing, maybe. Okay. Manjuji, can you switch on your camera, please? I would request if anyone who is present, they can, even Shilpa, if you can switch on the camera. Any questions so far? Or should I move forward? All thumbs up, as much as we can. Okay. ठीक है मंजू जी. Yeah, Shilpa, go ahead. Asking a question. Go ahead. Tell me. Is there a question, Shilpa? Okay. Okay. Then moving forward, Shilpa, if you can switch on your camera, it will be great. So now we're talking about the fourth ray, and fourth ray has white color. It's on Friday. It's the base of the spine chakra. It has 4 petals. Each petal has a God quality to it, and we'll talk about it. And then it is governed by, there are so many other masters. It's not like a hierarchy like in the human world. There are hierarchies, but it's just a area which they are governing. They are ministering that area. Okay, so in this case, from the ascended master's standpoint, from the aspects of Chohan's, Serapis Bey is the in charge. From the aspects of Elohim, it is purity and Astria. And from the aspects of archangels, it is Gabriel and hope. Okay, and then it is on the first sphere. And why we say it is a first sphere is because this is the first sphere. It's a white color sphere. That is why it is called as a first sphere. And then we have a yellow and a pink and a violet, purple, green, blue, all that. Okay, each sphere represents a different God quality. And I'm going to be talking about the God qualities and perversions and the colors of the perversion. So when we are living our life in the perversion or in the negative side of our, actions and thoughts and thinking, that is when the color of our aura changes to these colors from the standpoint of the fourth ray: dirty white and dead man's bone, silver, gray, black, scarlet. Okay, let's go deep dive. Let's first quickly talk about what do you mean by these different steps of ascended masters. Not steps, but different roles of ascended masters. So there are broadly four, categories, and none of the category is higher than the other. However, they have different attainments for sure. But in the God life, or in the ways of living of God, there is never a comparison done. I am speaking these questions, these certain comments. I'm talking about them because these were the questions which I had, and I had to go through a learning curve. So before, certain things which anybody could have, I can answer those things which at least I know. And of course, you can ask your questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. So, unlike humans, where there are different levels, we have a chain of command, as we call it. There is somebody always in the authority, and control. There's a very strong presence of control and all that ways of living. There is no such concept in the God's ways of living. However, each of the different categories have different attainments. They are in the spiritual world called as jewels. The ascended master attainments are called as their jewels. Okay, just to let you know. So, there are different attainments. We'll be talking about them. Okay. Now, Chauhans, there is no order also. I've just written them mm, just randomly. So there's no the meaning of this being the first or anyone being second or third. So Chauhans is each of the seven rays has a Chauhan who focuses the divine quality of that ray. Having ensouled and demonstrated the law of ray throughout numerous incarnations, and having taken initiation both before and after achieving moksha, and candidate is appointed to the office of Chauhans. So they are pretty seasoned in terms of practicing the God's ways of living. And of course, they have balanced their all karmas 100%, and they have attained moksha. And they are right now working along with the karmic board, where they are appointed inside the office of the Chauhans. That's about it. Archangels are the highest form of angels who are the leaders of countless numbers of other angels. Angels is the starting level when somebody gets ascended. We can say that in that way, and it is the highest rank in the order of angels. Each of the seven rays has a presiding archangel who, with his divine complement Archaea, every angel will have a Archaea to it, and every ascended master will have a twin flame to it, to them. Sorry. Okay. So we also, as chelas, we also have our twin flame. But for us to reach to a state to meet our twin flame, we must balance at least 51% of our karma. So embodies with his divine complement Archaea, or Archaea embodies the God consciousness of the ray, and directs the bands of angels serving in their command on that ray. So basically, archangels are the leaders of countless number of angels, and along with their complement or their twin flame, which is called as Archai, they are doing certain work of God to basically help different other angels for particular rays. So they are working on specific rays. Like for example, today we are talking about fourth ray. So for fourth ray, Archangel Gabriel and Hope, they are working on the God quality specific to that ray, along with many of the angels. So if you want to call upon the help from ascended masters for this fourth ray, you can just take name of Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Hope, Archaea Hope, and talk to them like you talk to a friend, and they will come and help you. That is my promise to you. It will happen, and I will explain you how you can do it even in detail later on. Now the next is the Elohim. So Elohims are the seven mighty Elohim, and their feminine counterparts are the builders of the form. When God created the formation of the cosmos in the physical form, these were the ones who were given the order by God that go and create form. So they were the ones who created the whole entire cosmos. They are called as the builders of the form. And then there is karmic board. Karmic boards basically has all the different masters who are in body of that particular of the board. They are part of that particular body of the board, and as such, they govern different stages of karma, like individual karma, group karma, national karma, world karma, and all these souls, our each of the souls has to pass through the karmic board, and after we do that, then there are different assignments which are allotted to us. Like for example, in this lifetime, Akash, I got a family, my wife, my kid, my parents, my siblings, my friends, my office colleagues, my neighbors, all of that I had already agreed upon in the karmic board, in the karmic in this council, and they had also agreed that we would want to be in this person's life. It is predestined. It is pre-configured. I'm not talking about not being able to have a free will. We all have a free will to take the kind of actions that we want to take. But based upon our karma, these were the people who are in our life. They were already predestined because we made a choice to come to this kind of a environment with this kind of relationship with these people, and so did they. Okay, we must remember this. It's very important part. Okay, it's a very simple chart. I think you can go through it. I don't have to, yeah, there's no point of reading through it. However, it's a very important chart because it talks about the day of the ray, the Chohans of appointed to that ray, archangels, Elohims, karmic board members for this respective ray, which chakra is most dominant corresponding to the ray, what are the divine qualities, what are the conversions and the symbol. Okay, so today we're talking about fourth ray, where we're talking about purity and hope, and then this is the symbol, which is a four-petaled uh, flower. Now, fourth ray is governed by Chohan Serapis Bey. I want to tell you that God had given our souls a free will as a gift, and what humans have done for obvious reasons, they have misused the free will and created a lot of negative karma, and that is the reason that we are here, so that we can balance our karmas and do it with grace, with ease. So about Serapis Bey. Serapis Bey is a Chohan of the fourth ray, and his temple is in Luxor, and he's the 13th member of the Council of Adepts of the Ascension Temple. He is also known as Serapis Solalel. He is basically of the sun, Serapis of the sun, and he is also known as a great disciplinarian of the Ancient of Days, and he is also known as somebody who was a great architect and a great master of building different sculptures of different colonies. Of basically, he very well known as a great architect, uh, and basically various forms of buildings. If you look at the learning is basically to, so why I'm saying this, that he is a great architect and then building of different forms of building, is because he has, through the learnings of ascended masters, he was already advanced in his balancing of karmas, and already he reached to a attainment where he was very closely as a messenger of God. So his job was to ensure that he passes the word of God through different forms. So we being on the planet Earth, we have to understand one thing, little sidetrack, but important, that there are people around us who are really attained, who have attained mastery at a very great stage. Now, what they are doing on the planet is they are basically forwarding the word of God in the form of medicine, in the form of architecture, in the form of art, in the form of science, in the form of, in the art you can break it down to music, dance, painting, all of that. And because how we experience the world is through the physicalness of it. So this is very important, that the messages that we receive are positive messages. We are not always available for a lecture. I mean, I just bumped into a lecture and then I probably followed it through for some time, but it's been so recent. and so is for all of us. We have to have this information coming from various other sources so that our work towards our ascension is more and more rich, and it's more and more obvious, right? Like I want to go to a place, meet people, have relationship with all of that happening within my practicing of forwarding my journey on my ascension. If I can do that, if I can forward my journey on my ascension while doing all this, that is what is the goal. We can't have two different lives. Now, coming back to the topic, so he's also known as a great disciplinarian. Serapis from the Venus, he was from Venus from the ancient of days to rekindle the sacred fire in the hearts of wayward mankind. His great enthusiasm to reclaim the sons of man as kings and priests unto the God swelled and mounted into the flame of iron will, determination, and discipline. So, what it means is that his commitment, because he came along with Sanat Kumara as one of the frontliners out of the 144,000 emissaries who came from planet Venus to save the Earth when it was decided by the Cosmic Council that we will be destroying the Earth because there was so much negative karma. So he was already a master at that point of time. Now, his intention on being the planet Earth, taking the form of human being, was that he can create those people who have authority, who have a larger impact on the community, to be god-like, to be uh, imbibed, or to be completely assimilated or completely engulfed or swelled. Swelled is another word for completely engulfed into the qualities of God. So those peoples perhaps were kings and priests at that time. That is what he means. And to make them so strong that if there is any negative evil coming, passing through them, they do not break, they do not kind of divulge into the negative thing or into the evil, because it comes, the tests keep coming, because the currency of the fallen angel is fear and doubt and false pride, and that is very luring, it's very enduring, it's very enticing. So all everybody is party to it. Okay, we are all susceptible to that. That is why. So the fourth ray is the ascension flame, the white light of the mother in the base of the spine chakra. Out of this white light comes architecture, principles of mathematics. He is a great mathematician at the same time. The foundations of the building of the matter temple and the pyramid of self. In the presence of Serapis, one knows an entirely different conception of what we call the Christ and the real person of us all. Now, the embodiments of therapists were high priest in the Ascension Temple. He was the priest in the Ascension Temple on Atlantis. So Atlantis was the I would say uh, currently where we have the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, perhaps that and much bigger area was the land where people used to live and most of the humanity used to exist. And around, I don't remember now what time, but when the Atlantis fell, if you guys know, please share. I don't remember it, but it looks like it is beyond 20,000 years ago. Before Atlantis fell, before the fall of Atlantis, all the humanity was in a very different stage. Of course, they had duality at that point of time, but yeah, the negativity, the negative karma actually increased at that time. Actually, that was the case. So he was a high priest in the Ascension Temple in Atlantis, and the guardian of the Ascension flame. He carried the flame safely up the river Nile to Luxor. Luxor is another place which still exists now, but at that point of time, Luxor was a higher platform. Just before the Atlantis sank in the sea. Serapis gives us a glimpse of this experience in his own words. Quoted, I remember well when the first rumblings of the sinking of Atlantis were present. For all you know, the sinking of that continent came in stages. By the grace of God, the warning given allowed many of to escape, and we made our way to Luxor. So Luxor was a higher platform where they all of them were saved. Architect of the Great Pyramid. Serapis was the architect of the Great Pyramid, and El Morya, as I mentioned about El Morya earlier, was the master mason. So he is an architect for Serapis Bey, and El Morya, he's the master mason. But both are the frontliners of Sanat Kumara. Just hang on with an open heart and open mind. Whatever we are receiving, just receive it. I will answer your questions, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to complete uh, this particular topic of I'll complete Serapis Bey's biography. So the Great Pyramid mm, have to be okay. Okay, sure. I will share, Shruti. You can carry on. It's okay, no problem. So the Great Pyramid is the carving stone. Basically, Great Pyramid he's talking about, which is in Egypt, which was built in a certain way, where it was a carving in the stone of the record of the path of initiation, whereby the soul beginning in the matter and the base of the pyramid at the base, sorry, beginning in the matter, the base of the pyramid and the four sides rises from the center of the pyramid to the apex. So it is denoting that how our initiation process happens, and that is how the pyramid has been designed. Okay, the rising above that flames is the meditation upon the white light that travels in the physical body from the base of the spine to the crown. I think we all know about pyramids. It's a very powerful place to actually meditate. Give me 1 second. Okay, and another embodiment was as an Amenhotep. So Amenhotep III was a person who took birth in 1300 to 1400 century before Christ, being a grandson of uh, Amenhotep II. He was a emperor, the son of Thutmose IV, and the grandson of Thutmose III. Okay, an incarnation of Kuthumi. So that's what it is. Kuthumi is another ascended master, and Thutmose was the incarnation of Kuthumi. So being born to Kuthumi is like, he already had a family with us, great masters who were enlightened masters. So his son and successor to the throne was Amenhotep IV, later known as Akhenaten. During Serapis' reign, Egypt was at her height of prosperity, peace, and splendor, which were the great manifestation of his communion with his own heart flame and with the ascended masters all the way back to the ancient of days. So Serapis Bey was one of the greatest masters known, emperors also known in Egypt as way back as 1400 century before Christ, and his teachings were practiced all the way up till the fourth century after death AD, and the highest amount of prosperity, peace, and splendor, recorded in the history of Egypt, which took place under his reign. Next embodiment was Leonidas, also known as the 300. I think many of us have watched that movie 300. So 300 were those Spartans who actually defeated a big army. Let me read through it. Serapis, also embodied as a Spartan king, Leonidas, died in 480 before Christ, who commanded the Greeks in their heroic stand against an immense Persian invasion at the pass of the Thermopylae gateway to central Greek. Although the Persians overwhelmingly outnumbered the Greeks, Leonidas resisted the advance of Persian's army under the king Xerxes. Pardon me about the pronunciation. And this he was a very violent and a very evil king. So that is the reason Serapis had to do this battle, and there was a lot of bloodshed. he protected his army against Persian, thousands and thousands of army, for 2 days. On the third day, when the Persian had approached from the rear and there was no reinforcement, uh, Leonidas dismissed most of his troops. Assisted by the remaining Greek allies, Leonidas and his 300-member Spartan royal guard fought to the last man. Their heroic stand enabled the Greek fleet to retreat and later defeat the Persians. Can you imagine defeating tens of thousands of soldiers, just 300 of these people? So later on, the example of Leonidas has helped to carry on the spark of national identity of the Greek nation. And this is also recorded. And there's a movie also by the name of 300. These were, all of them were basically, some of them have become ascended masters, the army of those 300, soldiers. Each one of them have been said to have an attainment of enlightenment, the whole of the army. That's how powerful they were. Just 300, but they defeated that much amount of big army. And the next embodiment was Phidias. Serapis was embodied as the sculpture Phidias during the 5th century before Christ in Athens. He was regarded as the greatest of all Greek sculptures. Okay, uh, he was the architect of the Parthenon, supervising its exquisitely masterful construction. Within the Parthenon, he placed his most famous work, the 40-foot high statue in gold and ivory of Pallas Athena. I have spoken about Pallas Athena, the god of truth, goddess of truth, the representation of mother figure of goddess of truth. Standing in the Parthenon, one stands in the presence of a piece of architecture that is designed by an individual who knows how to use form, symmetry, geometry, angles for the housing of the flame. The force field of the Parthenon does contain a essence of flame, and do the temple of Luxor at the Great Pyramid. So today's mission of Ascended Master Serapis occupies a very key position among seven Chauhans. The fourth ray is midpoint of the three on one side and three on the other. And the center figure also denotes the merging of the white light. Also, it is called as a nexus of the figure eight of the flow of energy. This is the point where the mother flame is always embodied in the Guru east or west, the person of the mother in Sanat Kumara who moves in and among us by that white light. So that's what it denotes. It denotes the motherhood in all of us. And it's the center of the figure eight flow of energy. It's very important state. The white light is the sacred fire of creation, and its version becomes black magic. This was seen in Egypt, the focal point of ascension flame, as the practice of black magic by the Egyptian Black Brotherhood, and went on for centuries upon centuries in defiance of the very presence of Serapis Bey within his temple. This happened in the 4th century after death. He has told Serapis Bey that if we balance 51% of our karma, our 49% will be waived off or it will be assisted by God. So we can attain our ascension when we complete balancing 51% of our karma. And that is an amazing news, in fact. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay. I would like to go to the, about reading about purity in Astria. Rather than that, I would like to go to, directly to the qualities. And I would like to touch upon the purity, uh, upon the purity and Astria's life later on. So I think let's start directly with the, I think there is some. Okay, anyways. So let's talk about the purity and the perversion of the fourth ray, because this is what will help us to live a different life altogether. Okay, and the idea is that we we start living a life inside of these qualities and not from the perversions. And I want to just say one thing. uh, it's been, lakhs of years since the fallen angels have been on the planet earth. Okay, their intention is not to let the light, uh, they are so, most of, fallen angels are soulless. They don't have a soul. They are not going to get ascension. That is one. But fallen angels have a strategy. So they are soulless and they will not get ascension is one part only. The second part is, this is something which ascended masters told. It's very important to know the strategy of the enemy, and it is also important to know how to overcome the the plan of the enemy. One thing is that the fallen angels don't have soul and they don't get ascension because they are soulless. Okay, their strategy is to basically convert all the people into their race. And the second thing is that all of us, they have at one point of time had an interaction with fallen angels over periods of lakhs of years, and while having interactions, also relationships with them, because of our free will, we have entered to a stage where we, with our relationships, we have had offsprings. And fast forward lakhs of years, currently our DNAs are mixed DNAs. Our DNAs, they carry the imprints of energies of dark angels, of fallen angels, of dark energies. So uh, within our self we have both negative, or the perversions, and the positives, which is the god qualities. So none of us are free from the perversions, and all of us have the god qualities in us. So the goal is to gradually balance our karmas and work on our psychology, so that we can gradually move more in the direction of god qualities, and reduce our negative beliefs and the perversions that we have. Each one of us has that, and it can only be possible to start with if we start to operate inside of being open hearted, inside of being forgiving of self, inside of having unconditional love for self, and having being forgiving for another, having unconditional love for another, which doesn't mean that we start to tolerate the negativity, or start to tolerate the negative the perversions of others, of ourselves. But if it is happening, to let it happen, to accept it, and with the intention that we know that we can make mistakes, but it doesn't mean that we will not learn. We are committed that we will always win. We are committed that we will continue to make progress. So making mistakes is acceptable, because we are all at imperfection state. We are all work in progress. At the same time, to remember that we are whole and complete. We are sons and daughters of God. So we have to continue to work on the path, because our spirit, that is our soul, is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. The purity that we have cannot be destroyed. The spirit that we have is always indestructible. It always wins. We have to remember. We have to have that strong faith. We have to have that strong trust in our spirit. Okay, with that, coming to the number one is purity and perfection. So the definition of purity is relative. We are talking about purity and perfection from a standpoint of absolute. When we listen to human understanding, it is always, sometimes it is pure, sometimes it is impure. And the understanding, the clarity, basically it is, we have to understand from the god's perspective, purity is absolute. It is not relative. Every single quality is absolute. Okay, so in the direction, if we go in the direction, the path of purity begins with the mastery, uh, mastering of each of the 12 petals of heart chakra. What do you mean by that? So other form of, as per the God's quality, or as per the God's definition, other form of saying purity, mastering purity means is to master love. Okay, someone who has mastered love, perfection, sorry, perfection. Somebody who has mastered perfection is nothing but saying as somebody who has mastered love. Each of the petal represents, okay. Furthermore, a person who has attained a certain amount of mastery of the 12 petals himself enters into another chamber of the heart, which is called the secret chamber, which has 8 petals. I think we can come to that later on, but it's very important that once we master purity, we will, we will be able to understand the 12 different petals of heart chakra, which we will learn in the teachings of the secret chakra, which we will go in detail after we complete the 7 rays. We will cover the 5 secret rays. In that, we will cover these petals. So mastering these 12 petals, it's a very deep thing. Buddha, Gautama Buddha, in his last incarnation, before he was ascended, one lifetime before that, he spent whole one lifetime in mastering one of the aspects of the petals, or one of the aspects of the 5 secret rays. So 5 secret rays is the advanced learning level after completing 7 rays. So we are doing 4th ray after completing 7 rays. Then there are 5 secret rays, and within 5 secret rays there are feminine and masculine for each ray. That means there are 10 different qualities for 5 secret rays. So the last ray, in that ray only one specific quality, for that he had spent one lifetime, and that was a quality of arms. Anyways, so once he completes this, then he works on mastering the secret chamber of heart, and he masters the 12 petals. Okay, now going to the next one. As I explained to you, the perfection is love. It is the criteria to enter the secret chamber of heart and remain there, integrating with the higher self. When one enters the secret chamber of heart, one masters perfection. He is mastering nothing but love. He is mastering love from the absolute standpoint of God is one of the highest things to be done, because the creation of God is nothing but the synonym of love. The reason the God created the whole cosmos was inside of his expression of love. And we have to start to understand difference between what we understand when we talk about love in the human form and when we talk about the love in the form of divine. And this is specifically the form of divine. And when we reach to the stage of mastering that, what we are doing is we are connecting with our higher self. Remember the first figure I showed you, the 4 lower bodies and the 3 upper bodies. This, through this practicing of love, and this is what I'm telling you now. The questions that you had earlier, that how can we attain to get connection with our higher bodies, like moving forward from those 4 lower bodies to Atma, that is our higher mind, and from Atma to our I am presence, that is our God self. And these are the steps to be followed actually. Okay, this is one of the rays, specifically one of the rays to be followed. Then the next is a self-discipline morality. A very significant requirement for mastering the quality of purity is through self-discipline, which means surrendering the energies of the human self to the higher self through self-discipline. How do we do that? Well, we can completely give up the righteousness that we have, or the pride that we have. Pride is one of the biggest currency of a fallen angel. Fear is one of the biggest currency of. So pride can take the form of being a rebel. It can take the form of being in rage, angry. Take the form of pride can be taken take the form of being righteous. All that. Okay. So by dropping these perversions, one can be in self-discipline. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. My dog had to go out. She likes to be with me during the lecture most of the time. He got bored, I feel. Okay, yeah. So morality implies obeying divine morals that stem from the golden rule. Do unto others as you wish to be done unto thyself. Here again, self-discipline is the binding force to obey the moral codes embedded in the golden rule. To shed negative energies, one must be shaked. You know, if you have to have some positive energy, we have to go through some kind of lessons ourselves. Sometimes we need those lessons to shake us, metaphorically. It shakes us. But that shaking is not that, we don't want to slide down, but that shaking is to further make us stronger, so that we remember that we had shaken, and then we got stronger, and our self discipline was intact, and we were brought, we came back on track, all that. And it continues. This process is never ending till the time we have birth, just to let you know. Next is life, hope, positive spirals. The spiritual meaning of life is light, so of which we all are made of. So basically, we are all made of light eventually. It is an ever growing and upwardly rising spiral of energy that moves into a person freely, who has mastered this quality of integration with light. Okay, this spiral continues to expand in person exponentially in a positive direction. Basically, it's like in the kundalini, it moves from the base of the spine, that is Mooladhara, till the crown chakra. And it is conversely true. If somebody moves into the negative, he moves from his energy moves from the crown chakra down to the to the root chakra. Joy, spiritual bliss. The positive spiral also contains in it the energies of joy and spiritual bliss. The state of a person who is in spiritual bliss can best be understood by visualizing him sailing in the boat while the boat keeps moving effortlessly towards its destination, with winds filling the sail automatically. When you are in the state of bliss, means that we are connected with the cosmic energy. So when we ask that we need money, we need love or relationships, we need knowledge, we need you know any kind of support, we are able to receive it. All the resources that we think of in the physical domain in the world are available to us. Why? Because we are living in life in the bliss, which means that we are living the life, it's an effortless life. We are living a life which is aligned, is the keyword, is aligned, which is aligned with the will of God. So things like synchronicities, serendipities, they start happening as the all the chelas also, as they align with the ways of beings of God. And we are always overshadowed by the ascended masters. Like when we face challenges, we must remember one thing. In fact, two things. Number one, that all the evil energy that is coming doesn't have any shape or form. It is not real. It is only trying to threaten us. It's not real. Okay, that's very, very important for us to know. And number two, if we face our demons, once we face them, like that, is it's like my hand is in front of me, right? Metaphorically, when we face our fears, always we are geared up that we will handle it. We will face our fears. They will shatter, and what we will experience is bliss. We will experience is love and joy. But all we have to do is we have to surrender our perversions. Evil is not real. Evil is a threat, artificial threat, which tries to use our physical body. So so surrendering ourselves to the fear is basically aligning ourselves to the bliss of life. Okay, and to the aligning to the ways of God qualities. And eventually the all the negative things, they shatter. And then what we know is that one thing is guaranteed, that all that, like for example, today if I had to forgive somebody, or I have to apologize, ask for forgiveness to somebody. If I just face it and I do it, the outcome of that for me is love, is light. It's not more misery, it's not more hatred, it's not more aggression or fighting or fear or anything of that sort. Because that's the promise of the Ascended Master, because we are always protected. Okay. All we have to do is we have to do it with an open heart and with strong belief. Let me just go further, and I'll also teach you some decrees which will help you to stay in the protection always. And that's also important. So next is the wholeness, all oneness. Such a person feels whole, complete within himself as the trinity of the three principles of Godhead, which is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. As I told you, when you are in the state of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, you are already one with God. The word alone no longer means to him as a lonely one, but he feels connected with all of life, both in heaven world and in the earth. Okay, this is very nice. You'll like it. Symmetry and geometry. The word God means geometry of divine divinity. In the spiritual sense, this person has mastered the science of spirit abounding, basically taking birth in the matter, human flesh and blood. So there was a test which was given to El Moria when he was around the age of 15. And at that point of time, he took birth as King Arthur. Okay. And it was not a test for him, but then it was an open invitation that whoever is able to, there was a rock, and within the rock a sword was carved, like a big hump of rock. Within that a sword is carved, half sword is carved. Now the test was that whoever can pull this sword and convert it into metal will become the next king. And it was like impossible for a human being to understand at the human sense. But for somebody who's enlightened, especially El Moria, okay, who can understand that how can something be created from spirit to matter? Spirit and matter are not separate. We, you and me, are chelas who are also on the path. We are adepts. We are getting into the stage of adepts. Actually, we are initiates right now. If we start to work on this, we can start creating matter from spirit. We can do that. 15 years age boy, he pulled, all this is in the scriptures also, by the way. He pulled that sword up from the rock, and the whole thing converted into a metal, and the whole sword came. Can you imagine? There was a half sword built inside of a, like a big rock was carved like a half sword and the rest of the hump. And then he actually pulled that sword, which was actually converted into a metal. Okay, he has purified, the person who has reached to the stage, he has purified his body to become congruent with the higher self, to be one with body, which is a symmetry and in sync with each other. All these qualities are overlapping each other, but they have something very unique to say. Unless we experience that uniqueness, it's impossible for us to distinguish it, including myself. I have experienced some of them. I can give you my example from them, but the rest is for me also to explore. So they might seem overlapping, but they are not. They have a distinct meaning around them, okay, which we have to explore ourselves. So, which we will do together as a partner, as buddies. So the seventh one is law, order, co-measurement, as above, so below. Okay, yeah. So the laws and the orders of heaven, spiritual realm, as easily understood by this person becomes he's embodied them. Because he has embodied them, it becomes natural. The meaning of the word co-measurement becomes clear to him with uh, as he knows how to discern truth from error by comparing a lower interpretation of conversation with the higher interpretation of conversation. So without, after reaching to a certain state, this I have experienced, I am able to see the other person's true meaning rather than what they are speaking, true behavior, true feeling, true expression, true meaning of what they are trying to portray. And that comes when we are, when, so I am able to, to a certain degree, when I'm able to measure that is the person meaning well, or it is, or the person is meaning wrong. And then I also see that there are my perversions which are stopping me to see further. And then this whole process is happening at a psychology level. and then I have to drop it. As we were reading about symmetry and about the wholeness earlier, when we surrender all that, then the truth is revealed, and most of the time the truth is so beautiful. Okay, I am telling you, all the complications that we face in our life is our own understanding about life. The bliss that we are talking about, the beauty of life, or the love of life, love of the creation, or the heaven, so to say, is not in heaven. Actually, it is on the planet earth, but it is for our eyes to see that. All of us, me included, and the yeah, I think the last line is as above so below, means that the kingdom consciousness of God in him exists in the same way on earth as it exists in heaven. Can you see? Same thing they are saying. Ascended masters are saying that the heaven on the on the above is the same thing, the heaven which is on earth. And why would they say that? These words are mystical. You cannot, we cannot understand them by grammatical understanding of it. Actually, we need to experience it. It can further be explained that he is like a coin of two sides, the head of as heaven and the tail as earth. He has a mastery of both earth and spiritual plane. That's what our goal is, you and me. Divine architecture, blueprint of life. This person is able to understand the interconnection of energies between the spiritual and the physical realms at both the micro and the macro levels. He knows the meaning behind the secret spiritual codes embedded in the architectural structures, pyramids in the world. The interpretation of the blueprint of life is complex. Simply put, it means how life was and is continuously being created in the mind of God. From the very beginning, how the creation is being run by the Creator and how was He, as the offspring of God, play an important role in it. So what he is saying is that they understand the true meaning, the secret, okay, meaning behind the secret spiritual codes embedded in the architecture structures. It is, the thing is that God is, this ascended master teaching has been there from lakhs of years, but are we, have been able to access it? I don't think so. Why? Because we were not ready to receive it. Now still it is available on internet, most of it. Can everybody has access to it, but will everybody go through it, understand it? No. People who will understand it are the ones who are ready for it. Now if we have reached to this stage, it only means that our path is set and we need to move forward in the direction. Okay, and this is a divine architectural blueprint of life, can be understood by each one of us once we start to use this quality through our prayers and our service, and practicing surrendering, meditation, and also going through this knowledge again and again. Okay, light energy will free people, and the dark energy tries to control and generate fear with pride. Now always remember, the light energy will free us. Whenever we are around the light energy, we'll feel the freedom, and whenever we are around the dark energy, it will try to control us, generate fear and pride. Now uh, another thing we want to remember is that there is no guru outside of us in this whole world. Our own guru is us, our own I am presence. But can we understand what I'm speaking? No, I don't think. I hardly understand it. But all of us can understand it at our own level. But that is the truth. We might understand it as a matter of pride, but there is no pride in this. It's just a reality. How can we have a pride about something which is real? Our own guru is us. So we should remember, if somebody says that, if they try to bring attention on themselves, or they try to attach themselves with us, that they are indisposable so that we can get our moksha, then that is not real guru. Because anybody can be a mentor. The ascended masters, I will talk about Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and there are many more. They clearly said Elizabeth Clare Prophet died in 2009, by the way, and she got her ascension, her moksha, when she was when it was 1995 or 1999. So she lived around 10 years or more after getting her ascension, after completing her 100% karma, because she had to help humanity. So there are many ascended masters who don't who don't leave their body and who continue to be on the planet because they want to help humanity, like Gautama Buddha, like Mahavatar Babaji, like Mother Kuan Yin. Now, what they are doing is they are taking extra burden on themselves, anyways. So this is one thing where what I was telling you was that just trying to recall this aspect which I was speaking about, the light part. Yeah. So Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who got her ascension in 1995 or 1999, between that period, she was on the planet because she took extra burden of humanity, and she said, as an ascended master, that don't follow me, don't relate to me as a master or a guru, because that is not true. Because nobody is anybody's guru, because all of us are sons and daughters of God. How can they distinguish between one daughter and one son? We cannot do that. So we are sons and daughters of God. It means that all of us are at that state, but we have to listen to that from the state of godness, not from the state of pride. And then the Ascended Master Teachings is a mystical path for the union with God, with our higher self. Why we call it as mystical is a key word, because not linear learning. It's not a linear learning. It's not a linear knowledge. It's a multi-dimensional knowledge, multi-dimensional learning. Every single stage, we continue to unravel, okay, unveil something new. So we have to be open minded, we have to have an open heart and continue to do it. What we are trying to do is we are trying to create a union with the God, and that God is us. We are that God, and that is our higher self. That is our God self. Okay, so I'm going to take very quick, perversions, not spend much time, just to let you know all the perversions that are mentioned here are in us, all of in all of us in different degrees and percentage. The idea is to continue to increase our God qualities, and eventually the perversions start to get reduced, and we start to balance our karmas. Okay, so very quickly, impurity, imperfection. It's the opposite of purity and perfection. A person who embodies impurity of any kind in thoughts, feelings, words, in his four lower bodies, etheric, mental, emotional, physical, makes himself imperfect in love, as going against the principles of nature, which disqualifies him of not becoming the instrument of his higher self. Lack of self-control and morality. Lack of self-control means not control over one's thoughts, emotions, words, actions. It can be said that such a person has free reign over himself. Can't we relate to it? I think I can relate to it very much. So this is there in us in whatever percentage. The idea is that we can work towards surrendering this. Such a person has a little or no respect for the moral values of himself, for himself and others, and disregards obeying the golden rule. The golden rule is to, surrender and be in the God qualities. That is basically the first one, is the most important one, or I would say the beginning point is the purity of perfection. That's the love, mastering love from God's eye. Death, discouragement, negative spirals. Such a person are on their way to negative downward and counterclockwise spirals, which lead to discouragement and eventual death of their souls permanently. There are people who have lost their soul, whose souls have died, and soul also has a death. By the way, they are not souls are not eternal. Souls also have a death, and some people have lost their soul. Their souls have died. There are some people who are soulless also, and that's a very big statement, and we will talk about it in later sections, later sessions. Lust, human desire patterns, misuses of the sacred fire. Such persons exhaust their energies on fulfilling their human desires, satisfying pleasures of the flesh, lust, having good times. Eat, drink, and be merry. We say that in Hindi, no, khao piyo mauj karo. The growing momentums of such desires patterns eventually make them self destruct. No discipline, separateness, incompleteness, loneliness. Such people tend to feel lonely and depressed, separate from the society and incomplete in themselves. This is sulking state. There is a state of being lonely when we are in the state of our passing our tests with God also. But that state is when we are aware that we are getting challenged, and then we are, while we are in that challenge, we are more in state of mindfulness, practicing meditation, or we are able to connect with our buddies. But this is a state of sulkingness, because in this state one goes slanders down. That's different. The first loneliness is more towards experiencing that loneliness, but being mindful of it, because that is a test. The test is basically to hold on to the mastery that we have attained so far, or our own jewels of spirituality, of teachings of ascended masters. Asymmetry. In spiritual terms, people filled with this perversion are in the state of disarray because they are not in sync with their divine blueprint. They are out of symmetry or geometry of nature and are on a decaying spiral. Why we say that? Because they are always constantly fighting for human logic. That doesn't matter what it is, I am right, like that. Lawlessness, anarchy, chaos, absence of interchange between spirit and matter. The person who embodies this perversion has chosen to live a life full of chaos, confusion, disrespect of law and order. He has created a wedge between himself and his higher self to stop the flow of energy of positive communication. In other words, he does not hear the word of his conscience. I think all of us have experienced this in some form or the other, but the point is that when one reaches to a state when they stop respecting, any kind of law and order, they are more interested in their own human understanding, being selfish, being greedy, uh, always trying to be right, uh, always being in anger, being a rebel, having pride for whatever reason all the time, experiencing being ahead of another. These are certain ways in which a person does not keep themselves open to learn. That is a slandering down, distortion of divine design. The sad conclusion is that such person decides to take the left-handed path and thwarts his divine plan of inheriting immortal life as a son and daughter of God. So that's basically a state of reaching towards death of the soul. I was telling you how to practice certain things which will help you to balance your karmas. Also, it will help you to master on the God qualities, such as the one which we discussed. So one of the things that all of us must do, I definitely do it every day. I would say that very rarely I miss. I do, but I very rarely. But uh, preferably a fixed time to chant Violet Flame, and I will give you the decrees. All the links I will share in the in the WhatsApp group, so that you can go to those PPTs, and you can download those Violet Flame decrees. It's already there. Okay, you just have to download it. In fact, I will upload this slide with the Violet Flame decree today, plus 15 minutes of Violet Flame decree. El Moria said in his dictation that if you do 15 minutes of Violet Flame decree with mindfully, as I will explain you now, For 6 months, you can balance 1 lifetimes of karma, which is a big deal. If people are unable to balance 1 life karma in multiple lifetimes, sometimes we go backwards, isn't it? It's true. But there is something which is a free gift which has been given to us. All we need is to be mindful. I think anybody who is here, who's listening, and who's inclined towards this teaching will take this as grab this opportunity. So do 15 minutes of violet flame decree at a fixed time during the day, every single day. Uh, do it for 6 months or more, much more. And plus do other decrees for that particular day. Like for example, today is Saturday and today is the day for violet. The color for today is violet. So and for today, I think the color is violet, and it will be, yeah, sacral chakra. It works on the sacral chakra. So you can do decrees which are related to this particular day. Bring in your situation into the awareness and be present of the concern to be resolved. So, like for example, I have a concern with my health. So while I do the decree, I'll bring that into the picture. Or it could be any concern, my finances, my relationships, anything. Bring that picture, okay, the scenario into the prayer. Yeah, I will help you to do that, because there was so much sound I had to. You can unmute now. Yes, you can unmute.
Uh, what is violet flame and what is decrease me?
Okay, violet flame is the that is a color. Violet is a color, of course, and a violet flame is basically a fire, and it's not physically visible. It's an etheric color, uh, which is basically a divine color, or rather the divine flame, which is not physically visible. But we will have to imagine that this is a flame. We have fire, and the fire is of yellow color naturally to the human eye. The similar way, this is a violet fire. And then when we do different chakras, there is a green fire, it's a blue fire, it's a white fire, like that. Okay, so for violet is a violet fire. Okay, it's in the etheric plane. It's not physically seen, but we can imagine that that's a violet fire. That is number one. Now I am using violet flame and violet fire, the same thing. So the violet flame, it was there in the planet Earth more than 50,000 years ago, when Saint Germain, who was the emperor of Sahara Valley, which is now called as Sahara Desert, he had experienced that the violet flame was misused by humans because of obvious reasons. At that point of time, humans used to basically do some negative karma and then come back home, and they used to do violet flame decrees, and they used to balance their karmas. So this became karma dodging. Okay, and that point of time, Cosmic Council, they informed Saint Germain that we will take away the violet flame now because it's being misused. So along with Saint Germain, who was the emperor of Sahara Valley, some of his emissaries, his key soldiers and people who he entrusted, he invited them over a meal in the evening in his palace. And over the meal, he announced this that this is going to go, and all of them, they resurrected along with the violet flame, and it was not there on the humanity for this much thousands of years. 250 years ago, in Chicago, Godfrey and Lotus, who is his twin flame. Godfrey is now an ascended master, but 250 years ago in Chicago, he received a dictation from Saint Germain. He was a normal guy, and along with his twin flame Lotus, who became a twin flame later on, they received a message from Saint Germain that he wants to reintroduce violet flame. And then that violet flame was reintroduced around 250 years ago. And that point of time, Saint Germain had to give away his jewels. His jewels are nothing but his attainments over lifetimes of lifetimes, and all his attainments in the process of his being an ascended master, to the cosmic council, that this is my collateral. I give you a guarantee. If the humanity doesn't use it properly, then you can take away my attainments, and then he has to come back to the karma cycle again. Okay, so that is his love for humanity, and that is what violet flame is. What violet flame does is important. Violet flame balances the karma. Violet flame helps you to resolve any kind of problem, any kind of problem. Just to give you a sense of what I mean, the problems could be ranging from relationships, finances, health, or negative patterns of doing things, thinking, acting, behaving, so on and so forth. So it is the shortest distance between a problem and a solution. So that is what is a violet flame. Okay. What else was your question? Decrease. Yeah. Now, decrease is something which is a form of mantra. When we chant a mantra, we chant a mantra in a different, normally all of us chant mantra by praying to the god, and mostly hand folded, or in which whatever form, we have a huge kind of respect, and it's a form of a request, that we are requesting god for giving us whatever we want, maybe peace or love or happiness and prosperity and so forth. But in decree, this is a form of chanting in which, number one, we have to talk to God like we are sons and daughters. So these decrees are in the commanding tone. They are like an order. We are not requesting. We are not just praying, even though we want this to happen, but this is not like a request or a plea that we are making. But this is a demand. This is an order that we are giving to God. But it's not coming from ego. Like, I don't do a violet flame to do wrong for another person. I don't do a violet flame so that I can experience more of righteousness. I don't do violet flame so that another person can feel bad about what they have done, or they can feel, whatever, so that I can do something in which I can feel superior. No, I do it with the understanding that I have a huge love for God, my father, my mother, and I have a right with them, and I have my situation that I have to resolve. Now I want them to intervene, to transmute that situation into positivity. Violet flame converts one form of energy to a different form of energy. It's a very powerful alchemic action happening, alchemic reaction happening, of converting a specific form of energy into a positive form of energy. Okay, so we do a decrease is a mantra which is done with a lot of reverence, but in commanding tone, in an ordering tone. And as I was explaining, I was also mentioning how to do a violet flame decree. We bring a situation into the awareness. Number one, we make a protection call, which I have shared in the last slide, to Archangel Michael or Mighty Estria. Then we use a preamble, which is an invocation, which is also shared. Then most important thing is to speak each word with clarity and reverence and concentration. And gradually we increase the pace. The pace goes to the stage of where it starts to reach this, a frequency of light. So fast we can do the violet flame decrees, actually, or any other decree. And of course, I mentioned about bringing our situation. Now we start to visualize that we are being enveloped into the 9 diameter of of the violet flame. Okay, and 6 6 inch 6 meter sorry, inches nahi. 9, sorry, it's not, I think I have to make a correction here. So it is basically 9 feet, not meter, 9 feet of diameter of violet flame capsule. Inside that capsule, there is a 6 feet of diameter of white light. So outer capsule is of violet light, which is of 9 feet of diameter, and the inner capsule is of white light, which is of 6 feet in the diameter. Okay, violet light and then the white light, and we are inside that capsule. We have to imagine that, and then we do the decree. And then after we finish, we do a closing prayer. So these are the steps which you have to follow. This is there in the slide, so you can refer to it. And I was just mentioning that the important tools to transmute the negative karma which have been given to us. One is that I am presence, that we are the sons and daughters of God, and we are God with all respect and love. The second is the knowledge of the ascended master names and their teachings. So what we are learning is very helpful. And third is the violet flame decrees that we do. Yeah, and the fourth is the degrees of each other color for healing of other things like finances, of health, and all that. Each of them have different degrees available to us. Okay, so that is all for today. I'm happy to take up any questions if you have. You can unmute yourself. All of you can unmute. Any questions?
What are the good books that you can read on this?
I have one or two books which I can share in the WhatsApp group. I have a
Okay.
soft copy of them. One is I would say that start doing the decrees at least. That's very, very
Okay.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And there is a one book which is by the name of The Chela and the Path. Let me put that on the group today.
Mm-hmm.
I will make a note of it. Basically, suggest books. I will share in the group, Shalini. I have shared the link. Have you joined that link?
Beam meditation group.
No. Just go to the chat and you will see the first message. It's
No,
a
problem was I got disconnected because of the battery. So
okay.
I lost out
Just
all the
yeah.
history.
I have just sent another message.
Okay, great. I
It's
got
a
it.
group. So please join that group and you can mention. I will share the name of the books in that. One I've shared is The Chela and the Path. That is very good. You can read. I'll share some books on decrees, violet flame decrees, and different color decrees, which I have as a soft copy, and I'm happy to give them to all of you. So I'll share that with you guys.
Can you just say like the previous WhatsApp group you have made? So if you could put all your four on the same group so that we know one by one we can take it and study it in our time.
The videos, you mean?
Yes, all the four lectures which you had done.
Yes, I will do that today. I have done it a couple of times earlier also, and today I will also do it. I think
But
today
since we are there, so you tell us which group you will be, which WhatsApp group you will be posting.
Okay, Manju ji, I have just shared this link. If you join this group now, just say a hello message, introduce yourself so that I know that you have joined. Everybody also knows you, and we should be able to reach out to each other. I mean, I'll come to that later on, and then I will post it once you, Norin, Shilpa, you guys join, and after that I will post the links so that you can go through those links. Also, I will give a link to the all the slides that I have used, all the presentations that I've used so far. Usually we do a decree at the end. So today we don't have time. So maybe we'll do it next time.
I think they have joined the
Okay.
Ancient Wisdom Awakening.
Then
Yeah,
I will
I just
just post
joined.
it.
I just
Yeah.
joined. Yeah. Thanks.
I will add it. Yeah. You are already there, Naren.
Yeah, I am. That's how I also
Okay.
came to know.
Acha. I'm going to share it today. I will do that.
Thank you very much for the session.
You get some value out of it. How was it for you?
I think there was a lot of information, so um, I understood, but at the same time, I think it'll take some time for everything to sink in.
Yeah.
You are right. It's lot of
And
information. We need
yeah,
to go through it.
and now that I've even reached we did the fourth ray, I'm curious to go back and revisit the others. So I'm hoping that if I get a chance to do the others, then the fourth ray will become clearer. But it's yeah, it's interesting how today I chose to come and attend the fourth ray to talk about discipline, joy.
Yeah. Serapis Bey is the most disciplined ascended master. He's a disciplinarian. And it's
Yeah,
said that people cannot stand in his aura. He
yeah,
asks them when people go to his retreat to go back if they don't, he doesn't feel them being in that state of discipline. So, but
yeah.
this is not with the anger because he's an ascended master. So his teachings are absolute. There cannot be any dilution in that. He- But one has to reach to a stage of giving that and receive in return the information, and that is very powerful information. So I think in some of the lectures we will discuss how we can become the chelas of these masters on on a very committed relationship also. That's also possible, but this is just a beginning, Naren. This is to get
Yeah,
kind of an intro about them.
I think so. I think so, I'm sure. And I don't want to say anything because I don't think I have understood the essence that I can even ask you any questions. So I'm going to just let it be.
That's okay, as long
I
as you
oh, no,
feel resonating.
I definitely do. And the question, the only thing I think on the group you are going to put how we can do the decree and the violet flame. So
Hmm.
um,
so
once we
so
start that, yeah.
So one thing is how you can do the decree is any decree, not just violet flame. Violet flame is very important to be done every day for 15 minutes because that's why I say it's important is not that you have to do it. You can choose not to do it. But when I say it's important, what I mean is that its essence is basically once one starts to do it, if they understand the context, violet flame helps to balance the karmas, and there is no other
Mm.
way that we can balance the karmas faster than doing the violet flame decrease. So why, if I am getting some help, wouldn't I take it? Of course I will. So we alone cannot balance all the karmas. This is for sure. We need God's
And
intervention.
is this violet flame decree the same for everybody? Is it like I'm sorry, I might sound very silly, but is it like a video or an audio that we're listening to that
I,
is the same for everyone, or
okay.
is it something that we do personal?
Okay, let me answer that question in a moment. Let me complete my sentence once so that you get a picture of what is violet flame. Number one is that it balances the karmas. Number two, it helps to transmute all the negative perversions. Now, we would want help to balance our negative perversions also in the day to day life. Like, for example, how about I getting a little more comfort in my relationship with my wife and son and my people who are very close to me, my job and all that. How about that? I really would like that, right? Isn't it? Like, wouldn't I want to do this work or whatever you are up to? Maybe you're doing something other very humble and noble cause that we are on with more gratitude and more peace. Of course, we cannot be in the chaos and do things all the time. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to take help to fight the battle against the evil. So that is very
Mm-hmm.
helpful. And violet flame helps us to balance our karma. So that is also very helpful. I think that is majorly what it is. Doing how to do it, just sit in a proper position, stable, and then bring the situation in front of you, whatever is the situation. Okay, let's say that it's about job, career, and then
Mm-hmm.
now the whole situation is there in front of you, whatever is the situation. My boss, my team members, and how I get to do a certain kind of projects in which I'm unable to maybe correlate to them, or they are unable to take action on deadlines, so and so forth, and etc etc etc. Say the whole thing and put it here, be present to that thing, then encapsulate yourself in the imagine. If you're not good in imagining, imagine that you're imagining. Like, I am not good in imagining, so I have to imagine that I'm imagining that now I am in the uh, encapsulated into the chamber, a capsule of violet flame which is 9 inches, 9 feet in the diameter. And then inside that capsule there is another small capsule which is 6 feet in the 6 feet in the diameter, of white color. Okay, and then I start my decree uh, with this commanding tone. The tone is commanding. There is authority in the tone, like you're demanding. Okay. Now, then we do I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires, like that. I am the
Okay.
violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone above. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun of God's sacred power, freeing everyone. And like that. And you do a loop of minimum 3 times, and then multiple of 3, 6, 9, 12, so forth. Normally we do it for 15 minutes for violet flame. Okay, and now this is the whole step. You finish the whole thing. But before doing all of this, and after doing all of that, before this we do a invocation prayer in which we invite the masters. Ascended masters are not like fallen angels. They do not interfere with the human free will. Now, even if the ascended master is sitting next to me, he will not help me unless I ask, Archangel Michael, help me. As soon as I say this word, Archangel Michael, help me, no matter what my situation is, there could be a big blunder happening around me. Within minute 2 or 3, the situation will dissolve. It has happened ongoingly with me and with many people. And please don't trust me. I don't want you to trust anything that I say. We have to experience it. It makes no sense of anybody saying anything to us and we going back and then it's nice lecture. If it really means something, we should do it.
Mm.
Yeah. And then closing it. The closing is because they see there are certain energies that have come. Certain energies are there to protect us. White fire is for protection, and there are certain energies which are there so that our energies are getting uplifted. The violet flame is uplifting us, and there are many other colors. Green color is for healing, and then yellow color is for illumination, wisdom, so and so forth. We want that to be intact. We just don't want keep having a moment and then getting into back into this normal. So just to keep it intact, we do a closing prayer which basically seals and binds the whole energy that we are carrying for a period of 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
because the cosmic clocks resets at that time. And there is a huge lecture about the cosmic clock, and we need to talk about that at a later session. It's a very very detailed and very very important piece. So that's why we do it every day, preferably same time, so that we can manage our energy for a period of time. Like I did it now, then I did it tomorrow in the evening or in the night. Then I will see the variation. This best is to do it in a fixed time, preferably. If you can't, then at least do it any time during the day.
Okay. And you have to speak very loudly, or
Yeah.
can you keep it in your mind?
So another thing. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, because this will be very helpful for you and for others also. And I'm very glad that you're asking this, and I'm going to reply to you with a lot of reverence. This journey is not so straightforward, in the sense that there are so many lessons which will continue to come for us when we start doing this. Just like a beehive, the bees get attractive to the honey. When we go into light, our light gets attracted by all the negative energies, starting with the family members. So this, the reason of creating the group is so that we can take assistance. Okay, please start interacting in the group. I will answer the questions, the questions which nobody else would be able, or I'm not trying to say that I know everything. What I mean is that uh, these questions I will answer. You put in the group and I'll let me answer to you. And for the larger benefit of the group, and start creating a little buddy system. Start interacting with people more often. Talk to people where they are in the same journey. Because I promise you, when we start working on these energies, no, so much will come up. Is, when the things are settled, it's okay. But when we start shaking, this, all the settled sediments, they come up. It will come up, and it's good, because it should come up, because this is the only way we can move forward. I am here to tell you, anything which comes up is good thing, and the outcome of that, if we work through the ascended master teaching, is going to be harmony. I promise you this, it will be harmony. But it will not be one time, it will continue, things will continue, because the lessons will keep on adding on. So answering your question is that, I will, you please put this question in the group. I would like to answer it for the larger forum also, and so that everybody knows, because I would like to paste some sort of some sort of links where you can go and refer to the decrees which are being done by these people. Okay, so that you can practice along with them. For the period of around 3 months, I was lip syncing with those people, because I don't want to speak, in my own modulation. I might have my own tone of saying, commanding tone and all that. I want to use it from the people who have already ascended now. Some ascended masters have been doing this when they were in the state of being a messenger. Why don't I use it? If I have that kind of a provision, I can leverage it. No, why? I would suggest that you use that. I will share that link in the group and do a lip syncing with them for some period of time. Do the prayers with them, and then you will see the tone that they are using and the pace that they have, and you can gradually increase the pace. Another important thing is not to mumble, not to miss a word in the decrees, because missing a word is missing a sacred word. These are not words, they are not random conjunctions of some paragraphs of certain vocabulary. They have been put by ascended masters for a certain purpose. So we have to speak like we chew the food, properly. We have to speak each and every word properly. And as we get little more proficient, or we become master in that, we can we can become very, we can do it very quickly. Then we can increase the pace of doing it. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So the group is Ancient Wisdom Awakening.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're most welcome, anytime. Any questions, more questions? Good for now, looks like.